Heading down a country road tonight as we have in studio with us Garry Lee on the 9 o'clock news local edition here on Rock 93.7. Garry, where do you call home?
We live in White Bluff, Tennessee.
How do you like it there?
We like it. It's a little different. We moved about a year and a half ago from Winchester, Illinois, so it's a little bit different scene than what we're used to, but close to the same also.
Same change of scenery. Living in Illinois, I've done that. It's different coming to Tennessee. It's certainly a lot more colorful here.
Yeah, it is. And we're kind of hour and 40 minutes north of St. Louis, so we're in between two rivers. So it's a little bit like this, but not quite as much, you know.
Well, and it's also colorful in that you are a part of the music scene, getting out and doing your music. You've been traveling. I think you said you've been here for about a year and a half or so, trying to get a name made for yourself. You've played a few places.
Yeah, a few places downtown. With my producer, Kent Wells, and stuff, working with them on some things, and then got hooked up with Christine and Spin Doctor's music group, and trying to get things going, you know.
You've gotten the ball rolling pretty well then. You're moving on pretty good pace and working with a pretty well-known producer from around the Nashville area.
Correct.
We'll talk to you about the songs that you've been working on with him, what your plans are for album, what your plans are for touring, as we get to know a little bit more tonight about Garry Lee on the 9 o'clock news local edition here on Rock 93.7. Living life and making music in Tennessee these days. Tonight, we are talking with Garry Lee on the 9 o'clock news local edition here on Rock 93.7. Garry, you have been in music for how long?
I started out playing in bands, playing lead guitar for bands when I was 20 years old. So about 20 years, actually, you know. So I started playing guitar when I was about 10. Started writing music, 18, 19 years old. Got in with a bunch of older guys that was very well established in the Midwest, and just kind of excelled from there. So.
Started out with the guitar around 10. How did you latch onto the guitar?
My dad played a little bit here and now and then. Always had a guitar around the house, so I just picked it up and learned how to play. Never took lessons or anything, just started playing.
Self-taught?
Yeah. Yep.
Self-taught, and so I'm going to guess there was probably, if there were guitars laying around, there were probably some influences music-wise. What were those?
Anywhere between Elvis, Merle Haggard, Creedence Clearwater Revival, Steppenwolf, Jim Reeves, all kinds of stuff.
Jim Reeves.
A little bit of everything,
So you had the kind of, I don't want to say classic country sound, but there's elements of that in there. And then, of course, with some Elvis and stuff. So
sure.
You have certain vocal stylings that come into play there. Did they influence what you do? Yeah,
of course, I can't eliminate any of them, I can get close, but a lot of them are very good singers, and that's something, that nowadays you don't have those type of singers and stuff. So, definitely they influenced me a lot on that. So,
for those that may not be familiar with Jim Reeves, you can Google. That's some good music as well. That's not normally a reference that I hear, but he had quite a vocal range too.
Correct.
So you take that into account along with the playing. So did you learn to play those songs first?
Yeah, I played those. I played a lot of country operas in the Midwest. I played lead guitar for them and stuff. So I like the old style country, like the new style country, and I like Southern rock. So
these days it's you and a guitar. Do you have a band that you work with? Or?
I'm getting members of a band. What I use now is a lot of studio musicians when I go out and play. Right now we're just in the process of getting things going and getting really out there touring and stuff.
So it's your traveling band of sorts. It's kind of a makeshift thing, but it's great for shows. And how many shows do you do?
We've done about 4 or 5 this year, just down songwriter showcases with Kent and, and his band members and stuff.
For the biggest part, though, it's you, your guitar, and your songwriting.
Correct.
Does that make it a lot simpler?
I don't know. I really kind of like the live band thing myself. So I like being able to play guitar like I want to play, So being acoustic and songwriting sessions isn't quite the same for me. I like both of them, but I like the live band a lot better. So.
Hitting the band thing didn't start for you, I think you said, until in the 20s.
Yeah, I was about 20 years old, yeah.
What made you decide I'm going to go from playing around the house to joining a band?
Well, I played at a bluegrass festival. I didn't know I really knew how to play. I could play, but, I always thought everybody else was really good. So I played at a bluegrass festival, and I played with a fellow named Art Flatt, which would have been Lester Flatt's nephew. And we sat down and played for about 2 hours together, and he's asked me how I was playing this and playing that. And I said, I really don't know. I'm just playing. So I got a little more confidence after doing that a few times. And then I started playing out and meeting some people, started playing live.
It went from there, and it grew into you starting to make your own music,
Correct.
as far as writing your own songs. Yep. In fact, how about if we talk about one of those songs to get things going tonight? Tell me about The Fight.
The Fight is struggle, everyday struggle that men, women, everybody has, just trying to make it. The song, mentions, it's not about the money, it's not about what you do, it's the fight inside of you. It's what keeps you going. If it stays strong, keeping your confidence,
So the subject matter was easy to come by. What about the melodies and things? How do you write that?
Well, the melody on The Fight, I wrote every song except for two I co-wrote with Bill Duigi, which is a writer up in Nashville, a very well-known writer, very good. I had the song started, and he helped me finish them. So we just kind of incorporated what I had and just blended it all together and made The Fight. So.
It is The Fight. It is Garry Lee on the 9 o'clock news local edition here on Rock 93.7. Talking about his background and his music tonight with Garry Lee on the 9 o'clock news local edition here on Rock 93.7. Garry, you originally called Illinois home. You've stomped around there. I think we talked before we actually started, more around the St. Louis area.
Yeah, a little bit north of St. Louis, about an hour and a half, 2 hours north of St. Louis.
Most people, when they say, oh, Illinois, because I run into this all the time, oh, you're from Chicago.
Yep.
It's a common thing. The sounds around Chicago, a little bit different than the sounds around St. Louis.
Very much different. You get down south of Springfield, Illinois, and then it's a totally different area, No Cub fans. 1 out of 10 are Cub fans, and we're all Cardinals fans.
The rest are true dyed-in-the-wool Cardinal fans,
correct.
As they say. Having those influences from around that area, how did that impact? As far as I know, we talked about your affinity for other artists like Elvis and things like that, but the local sound around there, how did that impact it?
I think a lot, mainly in the St. Louis area, you got a lot of artists coming in. We're 3.5 hours from Chicago. So basically, being in the St. Louis area, you got a variety of people coming in there, to the amphitheater, to the Fox Theater and stuff. So you get a general genre, that comes together and influence you, and whether it's country, blues, rock, that's what kind of helped influence me, is just being in that area that you could go see these different artists and see how they performed, So
a wide variety of different things that help to shape the sound that you've got now. We said you didn't really study the guitar as far as actual professional training. We'll go with that. Correct. But since then, you've learned to write songs. So did you have to kind of learn how to write the structure for it, or?
Well, not really. Of course, Kent Will's my producer. He knows how to do all that stuff. He's a very good lead guitar person for myself. But what we did, we had James Mitchell come in and put the tracks down. And I came in and actually I did all the lead guitar parts on all of my songs. So, and Kent helped me with that, getting everything structured and, getting everything read out the way it's supposed to be. So, because I have no idea on that stuff. So,
but you start out with a skeleton as far as this is where I want to take it.
Yep, correct.
How much correction do they do for the course of what you've come up with?
We did all the tracks, all the lead tracks. All the tracks for the song were done in one day. We did the lead tracks for every song in 2 hours.
So not much, really.
Not much.
You kind of, at this point, you've pretty well got it hammered out and your sound is down.
Yep.
So it's really you making your sound, and you just have the privilege of getting to work with these people.
Correct.
What's the most exciting person that you've gotten to work with besides your producer? That's
I say the studio musicians that worked on my album, Lonnie Wilson, which is playing for Brooks and Dunn now, Paul Howe, he plays for Dolly, several other people, and James Mitchell, he's 1 or 2 behind Brent Mason, in Nashville right now playing guitar. So just getting to know those guys, that have been around. They got a lot of hits out on the radio that they've played on. So just a good group of guys there.
Have you picked up new techniques, or do you know it all?
No, I do not know it all, and I probably never will know it all. Yeah, I have, mainly with just sound, working with the different sound and the recording process on it. A little bit different than live. You got to change your settings a little bit and stuff. So that's the main thing, just more of the technical type of stuff.
Learning the technical aspect, kind of important, getting into the studio, getting that put together, and then getting out and about. We're going to talk about you getting out and about, the band that you're working on trying to build, what you've got album plan-wise. We'll do that as we continue our conversation tonight with Garry Lee on the 9 o'clock news local edition here on Rock 93.7. From grabbing the attention of some pretty big names around Nashville to just getting out and playing, we're discussing all the aspects of making music tonight with Garry Lee on the 9 o'clock news local edition here on Rock 93.7. What's the most exciting thing that you've been doing as far as getting the album that you're working on together?
Definitely, I like the guitar a lot better than the vocals. Get into it a little bit more. I'm a little more comfortable, Always caution myself and watch myself when I'm singing. When I'm playing lead guitar and stuff, I'm able to kind of be myself a little bit more, So, but it's all coming together too on the vocals. So,
when you practice, as far as getting ready to record all of this, do you put more into the practice for that versus just everyday practice, or?
No, it's about the same. I mean, I try to put as much as I can in, Usually there's limited time, between practices and doing everything I need to do. We have 3 kids at home. So when I got an opportunity to practice, I give it all I can anyway.
When it comes to the limited time, does that impact your songwriting too? Or?
Not necessarily. Songwriting kind of comes and goes in spurts, and I'll start a song and maybe a week or 2 or a month before I get it finished, kind of get the ideas flowing again. A lot of times a limited time doesn't really affect it, Usually I try to take advantage as much time as I have.
Do you approach every song with the same formula, or is writing each one different?
Each one's a little bit different. Sometimes it starts with the music. Sometimes it starts with the chorus in my head, or driving down the road, or sitting at home. It just it's a little bit different every time.
What's the most outlandish inspiration you've had for a song?
I don't know. I've had a few that I know that I wouldn't sing.
Those are the
just
songs
playing around.
Those are the songs that we're going to keep as the hidden track.
Yeah,
just
or
not
let somebody else do it or something like that. So,
well, do you write for other people? Do you think of that in mind?
I haven't. I do have some songs that would work for other people that I probably would not do. That's something I'll probably get into, eventually. But right now, I've just been focusing on what I have written and getting the production and everything done. And
will that make you scrap a song if you're writing something and you go, "This isn't my sound"?
No, I usually try to finish it just for I'll have it, in case there comes a time I want to present that to somebody else, or I hear somebody that may be good at doing that song. I always try to save everything, because a month later it may look at it and say, "Hey, that's not too bad." I might be able to do that.
You are working on getting together music for your first album?
Mm-hmm.
How many songs is going to be on it?
Right now we have 6 songs. It's complete. Everything's done, and we'll probably release it in October or somewhere around that.
So later in the fall, you're looking at doing that. You'll have the whole lot. Are you going to be going around to, "Hey, this is my album"?
I would like to. Yeah. So we're working on that as we speak, trying to get everything set and how we want to release it and when. We
recently had the Olympics take place. You've got something very patriotic that you kind of had out around that time. America,
yeah.
Where does that one come from, other than it's America?
Well, when I sat down and wrote that song, I just sat down and wrote. I didn't think much of it at the time. This is actually a song that I sent to Kent to let him listen to, and he liked it, and we worked together a little bit on it. I just see the way we are as a nation today compared to where we were 50 years ago as a nation. Moral values, family values, standing up for our country, being the number 1 country in the world, what we're supposed to do, having that concept for when my kids are older, they're still living in a nation that's great, that stands on that firm ground.
Well, we're going to let you share that with us then. It is America. It is Garry Lee, the 9 o'clock news local edition here on Rock 93.7.
I was born in the land of the free. Many people fought and died for that to be. That way life was on but gone. My granddad fought in a war, gave it all and he gave it some more. But by the time he died, he seen all that fade away. So I made up my mind, and I think it's about time if we all stood up and waved that flag again. We can see God bless America again. My daddy worked hard 7 days a week, providing for my brother, my sister, and me. For we could have a better way of life. Took me 35 years to understand what it took to really be a man. The blood, the sweat, and the tears. So I made up my mind, and I think it's about time that a few of us stood up and waved that flag again. We can see God bless America again. There's a good book with letters written in red by a man that killed, but he rose from the dead. Give us this life that we all have. Bless this land that we walk on. Between the money and greed, it's all but gone. But if we come together, we can get that back again. So I made up my mind, and I think it's about time that a few of us stood up and waved that flag again. We could see God bless America again. We could see God bless America again.
We've had a conversation tonight with Garry Lee talking about his music from up around the Nashville area. It's the 9 o'clock news local edition here on Rock 93.7. Garry, you call Nashville home. You also call the road home, or you're getting ready to. You've got some traveling planned. You're going to be doing a few dates.
Yeah, well, we're going to finish some radio tour stuff up, and we're going to try to get some dates confirmed for this fall and stuff and get going on some things.
Where would they find all that at? Are you online? Where are you at?
We're online at GarryLeeMusic.com.
Now, there's 2 R's in there. I want to make sure that everybody understands. You spell it with 2 R's because there is another Garry Lee.
Yeah, and a little different music.
Oh, yeah. He's like a Canadian performer, and he's a little bit not what we're talking about here.
That's correct.
No, this is a little bit more wholesome, I think. So Garry Lee, spell that with 2 R's.
Yep, Garry. GarryLeeMusic.com, and then Garry Lee Music on Facebook and Instagram also.
I was going to say 2 E's in that last part, but I think they figured that part out too.
So. Maybe you never know.
You never do these days, really. So you put dates up there. You've got the album that you're working on. Are you going to have that available through there?
It will be available as soon as we get everything done and get it uploaded. You know, sometimes we're a little technical challenged on that stuff, but we're trying. So we got it all based and ready to go.
Songs we talked about tonight, they can kind of sample those there?
They will be available here really soon on there, yes.
Okay, so you'll have a chance to do that through there. You'll find out where he's playing. You can go see him live. I highly recommend you do that. You said you're building a band. Mm-hmm. What are you going to call him?
The Garry Lee Band, I guess.
The Garry Lee Band. Yeah. Well, I didn't know if it was Garry Lee and the Leeites.
I've thought about that, but I haven't come up with a good enough name yet. So
I think just the Garry Lee Band ought to be just fine.
Yeah.
Garry, appreciate you talking with us this evening.
Thank you, Greg. Really appreciate it.
It's been the 9 o'clock news local edition, a conversation with Garry Lee tonight here on Rock 93.7.